This is a video review of the Gemtune GP-01 vacuum tube amplifier. Due to the time constraints here, I'm going to be speaking fast and the video may be choppy, but I think I have some valuable information that I want to impart, so here goes. First impressions: the faceplate is nice, thick aluminum, good quality and feel. The ink that says Gemtune is of poor quality. The rest of the ink is good. The VU meters are beautiful, nice quality. I think they look nice. The amplifier came with one ding, one scratch up here. Probably happened during shipping. I don't care. It's not in a highly visible area. And the binding posts are all high quality. Very happy with these. It appears to be high quality RCA connectors. Comes with a power cord. When this was shipped, two of the rubber feet on the bottom were laying in the bottom of the box. The other two were loose. Unfortunately, to get these back on, you have to remove the bottom cover, remove the screws, and you'll have what's kind of dangerous. You'll have the two nuts that are flopping around inside here. You got to find them. Those nuts go into the screws to hold these on. So if definitely check this when you're pulling it out of the box. Probably happened, vibrated off during shipping, and also this thing was inspected by Chinese customs, so they had rifled through the box, and who knows what they did. Here's a view of the interior, but first here's how the feet attach with these nuts. Screws go through the other side. I recommend, because they are loose, putting some thread locking compound on them to ensure that they don't come loose in the future. The inside is nice and neat and orderly. The only thing of note is that for some reason, when they build this, they use this little this caulk. I'm not sure what it is. It's this white gunk over every connector. I'm hoping and assuming that they soldered it first, or maybe they're using this stuff in lieu of solder. I have no idea. I'm going to try to figure that out later, but it is neat and orderly. Some of the key components look of decent quality, and it's well laid out. No problem in that regard. I am just a little concerned about this white stuff that they're using, perhaps in place of solder or over top the solder. I have no idea. I've never seen it before. It's strange. Get a close up of that stuff. But I'm happy with the layout. It's neat. Probably can't see it, but I scraped a little bit of this white stuff off from one of the connectors, and there is solder underneath of it, so they're putting this what looks to be like caulking. I'm not sure what it is over top the solder. Probably make for a stronger connection, but this is terrible. It makes for very difficult if anyone wants to repair or modify. It'll make a big fat mess when trying to desolder and resolder these things. But there is solder underneath it. Okay, right now I have the amp hooked up to two 8-ohm 100-watt dummy loads. I'm going to run it through some tests using my test bench right here. One of the things that the average consumer can't do is verify these specifications they give you. So I'm going to dedicate this review to determining whether or not this amp meets the cited specifications, and give you brief listening impressions towards the end. I'll leave the detailed listening impressions to somebody else for the review, but I'll briefly tell you what I think towards the very end. So let's go through the paces here and figure out if this amp meets the specifications that are alleged. Okay, I have a 1 kilohertz sine wave being fed into identically into both left and right channel inputs on the CD input, 8-ohm dummy loads, and I have on one channel, on the right channel, I have exactly 1 volt output across the 8-ohm resistor, which means 1/8 of a watt. The first thing I'm checking into is I did notice that when I listen to music, one of these VU meters is always a little lower than the other one, which indicate a balance problem, but there's no way to adjust the balance on this. And sure enough, that is confirmed by looking at the signal. You're looking at left versus right channels here, and you can see that one channel is definitely puts out more power than the other channel. And sure enough, on the RMS voltmeter, when I have 1 volt on the right channel, when I measure the left, it's 0.8 volts. That's a 20% difference. There's no way to adjust it. That's not good. Again, no way to adjust that. Okay, at 1/8 of a watt, switching over to a square wave. Everything looks beautiful. It's a great square wave being reproduced, indicating good frequency response extension. No ringing, no noise. The one thing I noticed about this amplifier when I first turned it on is it is noise free. Got close to the speakers, listen, nothing. It is very low noise. That's a definite positive. Again, the square wave response looks remarkable. Okay, now we're going to find out where this thing clips. I'm going to be looking at the voltmeter across the 8 ohm load and cranking the voltage up till you start to see soft clipping, which is right there, and that is 6.6 volts. Okay, so at 6, we got 6 volts for to the point where we can see visible clipping, which when you run the numbers, that's 4.5 watts. So this is effectively 4.5 watt output maximum, unlike the 8 watts times 2 that's specified. However, one note on that, that is the 4 watts is the point where you can see clipping on the oscilloscope. However, the distortion will be well over 1%. Well before those 4 watts. So this is definitely less than a 4 watt per channel amplifier. Due to lack of time, I won't get into details, but I will say as far as frequency response goes, this thing had it goes way down below 9 hertz and way above 20 kilohertz. In fact, I've got a signal on here right now that is 200 kilohertz, and it has barely started to drop off. So I start to see the waveform go down at about 100 kilohertz. So definitely meet specifications as far as frequency response. Not a problem. Okay, total harmonic distortion. I've got 1 kilohertz tone from an audio oscillator, low distortion audio oscillator, feeding it 3 volts RMS across the 8 ohm dummy load. It's roughly 1 watt. And I am measuring on this upper scale here. On the 3%, so I'm measuring 1.4%, 1.2%. So 1.2% total harmonic distortion at 1 kilohertz at 1 watt. Specs say less than equal to 1%. That's about on spec. At 1/8 of a watt into 8 ohm dummy load, it's still a little bit over. It's 1.1% THD. No, sorry, correction on that last one, different scale. At 1/8 of a watt, it's much less. It is 0.35 total harmonic distortion plus noise at 1/8 of a watt. So somewhere between 1/8 of a watt and 1 watt, it jumps up to 1%. Still very good. Okay. I went ahead and measured the other channel. I was measuring the right channel before. I'm measuring the left channel now. And I got total harmonic distortion measurements at 1/8 of a watt at 0.3%, and 1 watt 1.5%, and at 3 watts 4.2%. So the other channel is, both channels are similar. Also, I mentioned earlier the discrepancy between the left and the right channels in terms of amplification, and so what I did is I switched the load resistors on each channel, and I switched every tube left to right just to see if that was causing it, and I got identical results. So one channel is indeed amplifying more than the other channel, and I calculated at various voltages at 7% channel difference. So there's a 7%, you could round that up and say 10% if you want, difference in level between the left and the right channels, and there's no way to adjust that because there's no balance control in the amplifier. But all in all, the specs look pretty good, pretty close to what the advertised specifications are, with the exception of output power. This is listed as being 8 watts times 2, and I would beg to differ completely with that. This is essentially a 1 watt amplifier if you use 1% total harmonic distortion as a threshold. Again, at 3 watts, you're getting close to 5% THD. But that's to be expected with a 300B single-ended tube amplifier. I'm not complaining about that, but the specs are a bit deceiving. Again, in summary, this has a very wide frequency response, much wider than what's specified, down below 9 Hertz, well above 25 kilohertz. I've got it out to well above 100 kilohertz. That's a good thing. As far as listening impressions, I'll make this short because this is more of a technical test, but this amplifier needs to be listened to through high efficiency speakers. I know it's kind of dark here, but I listen to them through these, it is very dark, through these Altec Lansing Model 19s, which are very efficient, and that amplifier, this amplifier produces way more than enough sound that I'd ever need. So power is not a problem when you have high efficiency speakers, which is exactly what you want with this amplifier. Do not buy this amplifier if you're driving medium to low efficiency speakers. It'll be virtually useless, but those who are interested in this type of amp probably already know that. So in summary, as far as the sound goes, it's fantastic. Highly, highly, highly recommended. It's a beautiful sound. I can tell you that it blows the doors off this old Fisher 500B right here, which is a coveted integrated amplifier. And I've also compared it to, I can't see it right here, I have an NAD solid state NAD C375BEE, which is a $1,500 NAD. Fantastic solid state amplifier. And I can tell you that I prefer the Gemtune with respect to the mids and the high frequencies. The high frequencies are extended, very sweet, very delicate. Cliche, I can hear things I have not heard on using the solid state amp in the highs. It's absolutely beautiful. Mids are great. The low frequencies are well controlled, but definitely lacking, but that's to be expected with this type of amplifier. It has a tube rectifier, and these 300B tubes just cannot, these tube amps have they don't have the damping factor necessary to produce the deep full bass that you're used to with solid state equipment, but if you want one of these amplifiers, you already know that. All in all, the sound is absolutely fantastic. I would say worth twice the price in terms of sound, no doubt about it, or even more than that. It's just fantastic. These tubes they give you are great. Everything worked fine. I can't say enough about the sound. Highly recommended. The big drawbacks are slight, build quality is perfectly acceptable with respect to the price. My biggest peeve is the imbalance between the left and the right channels at 7%. I'm going to find a way to adjust that internally. However, most people probably won't be able to do that, and that I'd say is a problem. I don't know if it's unique to this amplifier or common throughout all these amplifiers, but I don't like that. All in all, this is a great amplifier. The specs check out. It's extremely low noise. Sound is fantastic. Highly recommended if you can, if you're willing to put up with the channel indifference. But by the way, the 7% channel imbalance between left and right with respect to voltage, I cannot really tell listening to my Altec 19 speakers, but I can definitely see it in the meters on the front. You can tell one meter doesn't is definitely lower than the other. That's here and there. That's up to you. Highly recommended, sound-wise, beautiful amplifier, well worth the money. Appreciate you watching. Thanks. Bye-bye.